If you suffer from back pain that gets worse after things like prolonged sitting or forward bending, if you've got weakness or tingling in your legs or feet, and if just the thought of coughing or sneezing is enough to stress you out because you know what it's going to do to your lower back, then this is the video for you, because I'm about to share 3 simple strategies to help you overcome the discomfort and disability that's caused by a bulging disc. Let's get into this. So first, let's understand what a disc bulge actually is. Now, your spinal discs sit in between the individual bones or vertebrae in your spine. Their primary job is to allow for fluid movement while providing cushioning and shock absorption, and they are designed and built expressly with that task in mind. See, each disc is comprised of 2 parts. There's an outer ring of dense fibrous material called the annulus fibrosus that contains a soft, gelatinous core called the nucleus pulposus. So it's helpful to think of a spinal disc almost like a jelly donut, where you have the tougher dough on the outside and the soft jelly on the interior. And when a disc bulge happens, it means that one side of that structure has been compressed, and as a result, the jelly inside has moved off in the opposite direction and has created a bulge in the dough that contains the jelly. But it's important to note that with a disc bulge, all the jelly is still contained inside of the dough and the dough is intact, which is very different than what happens with a disc herniation. But the primary goal with the strategies that I'm about to show you is to help gently redistribute the jelly inside of that disc to allow the disc to become more stable and to relieve pressure from any surrounding structures. Strategy number 1 is to take a little tummy time. One of the easiest things that you can do to help yourself if you suspect a bulging disc in your lower back is to spend some time lying flat on your stomach on a supportive surface. Now, statistically speaking, the discs in the lumbar spine are far more likely to bulge to the rear than they are to bulge to the front. And the reason for that is that the ligaments that support the spinal discs are much stronger along the front of the spine than they are at the rear. And if you've got a rearward bulging disc, then spending some time on your stomach can help encourage that gelatinous material in the center of the disc back towards the front, which can put the disc into a more stable position and help relieve pressure on the spinal nerves at the back of your spine. The best way to start out with this technique is to lie flat on your stomach on a very firm surface. It's important to avoid soft surfaces because only a firm surface can provide the external support that your body is craving so badly right now, which can really help to shut down any muscle spasms that your body's put in place to try and stabilize an unstable lower back, which in turn is going to make you way more comfortable. Now, to accentuate the relaxation effect and ease your way into this position, it's important to start off with your head and neck completely relaxed and resting on your hands like this. Now, if you're not comfortable with your head rotated to the side, simply rest your forehead on your hands, facing straight down like so, and allow those muscles in your back to completely relax. Now, it's important to note that if you've got a rearward facing disc bulge, this position can initially create some pressure and even discomfort, but give it 60 seconds to 2 minutes and see if your lower back doesn't get much more comfortable after lying here for that period of time. Now, if you want to accentuate the position because you're feeling so good here, then what you can do is elevate your head and neck. You still want the muscles relaxed, but you can come up on one palm like this, which is going to dip the extension into your back a little bit more. And if you want to accentuate it even more, you can go onto 2 palms like this. You can spend 2 to 5 minutes in this position, and when you get up, it's important to get up to the side, rolling this way, legs out in front, brace the abdomen, sit up like that. The second strategy is to use what I call therapeutic sitting, which can help transform this super common and often necessary activity from a problem into a solution. To completely transform your sitting position and take it from harmful to helpful, all you need are 2 simple steps. Step number 1 is to transition from passive sitting to active sitting. And what does that mean? Well, with active sitting, your muscles are fully engaged and you're in a strong upright posture. But you're not reliant on armrests or neck rests or back rests to externally prop you up and hold you in that position, because your own intrinsic strength and stamina is enough to support your body, stabilize your spine, and keep you in the position that you need to be in. Step number 2 is to open up your sitting angle. That's the angle from your thighs to your torso. And this is going to accomplish a couple of things. First, it's going to increase the amount of resting curve in your lower back. And second, it's going to take pressure off the posterior aspect of your spinal discs and help encourage that gelatinous material inside to move more towards the front, which if you've got a rearward bulging disc, it's going to make you a whole lot more comfortable. And there are multiple ways to accomplish this, but the easiest and least expensive way to do it is with a seat wedge. To perform active sitting, it's best to select a firm surface, one that pushes back against you a little bit when you put your weight on it, rather than a soft couch that kind of envelops you. From there, you're going to lay down your seat wedge and then sit down on top of the wedge like so. And what I want you to do from there is just feel how your body positions itself on top of that wedge. You'll notice that your pelvis dips forward just slightly, and you might find that your torso comes forward as a result of that. And what you're going to have to do from there is correct by bringing your torso, head, and neck backwards to keep ear, shoulder, and hip in line with one another. It's important to note that active sitting requires quite a bit of work, and if you're accustomed to sitting in a chair that has a backrest and armrests, this is likely going to be pretty challenging for you after just a few minutes go by. And so the best thing to do to set yourself up for success is to place a little timer in the location where you sit most often and set it for about 5 minutes, and just work on active sitting for 5 minutes every single hour. After that 5 minutes is up and your timer goes off, go back into your regular sitting position for the remaining 55 minutes of that hour. When the next hour comes up, perform active sitting for another 5 minutes, and so on throughout your workday. As the days and weeks go by, you should slowly work on increasing the amount of time that you spend in your active sitting position. And the third and final strategy is to shine a little light on your spinal discs. Now, we're not talking about just any kind of light here. We're talking about light that exists specifically within the range of 800 to 830 nanometers. And that's because near-infrared light therapy using devices like the one you see here has repeatedly demonstrated the ability not only to significantly reduce pain levels in people with chronic back pain, but to increase range of motion and dramatically improve functionality, specifically in people with sciatica type problems, where a lumbar disc bulge or herniation is putting pressure on a spinal nerve, and that's creating radiating pain into your rear end or lower extremities. So take a look at this study that was published in the journal Pain Research and Management. These researchers recruited 40 people suffering with chronic lower back pain from a pain management clinic up in Ontario. The subjects ranged in age from 26 years old all the way up to 80 years old. The main thing that they had in common was that all of them had been in pain for at least 6 years. Now, the researchers randomly split these people up into 2 groups. Group 1 received a wearable infrared therapy device that they were instructed to use for 8 to 10 hours a day. Group 2 received a device that looked identical that they were instructed to wear 8 to 10 hours a day, but it was a sham device. It provided no treatment. The researchers then tracked the subjects' pain levels over the course of the 7-week study. And what you can see here is the group that was receiving real infrared therapy had a progressive reduction in pain over the course of those 7 weeks. In fact, at the end of the 7 weeks, every subject in the experimental group that was receiving real infrared therapy had over a 50% reduction in their chronic back pain from using that therapy. Now, in contrast to that, the placebo group had only a 15% reduction in pain. Now take a look at this study that was published in 2022 in the Journal of Healthcare Engineering. These researchers looked specifically at using light therapy to treat discogenic lumbar radiculopathy. In this study, researchers took 110 people with an average age of 38 years old, and they randomly assigned them into 2 groups with 55 people each. Now, the experimental group in this study was treated with light therapy in conjunction with conventional physical therapy, and the control group received physical therapy alone. Both groups were treated for 18 sessions. At the end of the 18 sessions, they found that both groups had significant reductions in pain. The group treated with conventional physical therapy had a 72% reduction in pain, but But the group that was treated with conventional therapy plus light therapy had an 86% reduction in pain. The group that was treated with conventional physical therapy alone had a 37% reduction in disability. But the group that was treated with light therapy had a 47% reduction in disability. And the group that was treated with light therapy had 43% more range of motion at the end of the 18 sessions than the group treated with conventional physical therapy alone. What I really love about these three strategies is that each of them can be used as a standalone method for improving your situation if you've got a lumbar disc bulge, or they can easily be layered in with one another to enhance the overall effect. Either way, there's something here for everyone. If you're looking to get yourself a seat wedge or a high-quality light therapy device, check the links in the description down below for the products that I use and recommend. Beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button before you head out of here, and I'll see you next time.